What is going on, guys? Blink here, back with a new guide. Now, these full gameplay guides won't be created every day, as two guides do take me close to 24 hours to create, which is unfortunate. So what I'll be doing is creating these full gameplay guides on random days, that way I can still have my usual upload schedule and still have energy for that next guide. So once again, this guide will explain step-by-step instructions on how I play every situation. Anyways guys, the V-Bucks giveaway is still going on, so make sure to visit the link in the description to enter. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, as I post an Amazon gift card code in the comments every time I upload. By turning on notifications, you'll have a way better chance of getting here first and redeeming that code. Anyways guys, let's get to this guide. So once again, I'm heading towards Retail Row. I've been going here basically every game, as it's probably my favorite place to land. So if you guys ever want to try finding me, then Retail Row will be your best bet. So you guys notice there's a player heading towards my house I'm landing at. Now this is where you have to be careful, because it's basically whoever gets the first weapon wins. Now the strategy I usually utilize is find the weapons on the roof, not in the chest. There's actually 2 weapon spawns on top of this roof, and it's so much quicker grabbing one of them than running towards the chest. Had there been a weapon on the roof, I'd most of the time eliminate my opponent before he's able to turn and shoot. Now unfortunately none of the weapons spawned, and I wasn't going to try going for that chest, as I felt like I was a little too far to be able to steal the weapon from the chest. So make sure you guys have an escape route planned just in case you don't find a weapon. Now, I ended up finding a hunting rifle first, which isn't the greatest weapon to use inside a house, but thankfully my opponent never ended up pushing me, as I can still hear him walking around the roof. This gave me time to search the whole house, which led me to finding minis and the best weapon, a shotgun. If you have a shotgun early game, it's hands down the best weapon to use early game, as you can utilize your utilities to get closer to your opponents, and not all your opponents will have shotguns to fight you back with. So I was in a much better position. I went outside to take a peek at what this opponent was doing, and I catch this player using a shield potion on the roof, so I quickly try eliminating him to avoid him from taking the half. Not sure if he had sound on, but he was absolutely clueless that I was pushing him. Me opening that front door should have been his first cue that someone was around. He basically ignored me after grabbing the chest. If you've been inside a house with another player, then don't ignore the fact that they might come find you. Just make sure you guys are questioning where this player can be. The next thing I'll usually do is gather that wood. You'll need those materials when moving from place to place, since anyone can be watching you. So around 150 to 200 wood I'd say is reasonable to fight with. Now I head into the next house over, as it seemed unlooted. No need to push opponents, especially if you don't have a shotgun. Now I did have a shotgun, but I was looking for that tactical, which I couldn't find. Having the pump plus tactical combo makes it much easier to fight, as you don't have to wait for that pump delay to reset. You can pull out the tactical and continue shooting. As you guys know, it's a super common combo and it's super good taking care of your opponents. So I looted up this last chest up top, and I heard an opponent below me. So I picked up this boogie bomb and I threw it down, as I probably won't keep it, so I might as well use it. I do hit my opponent with it and push into the house so I can get a few shots on him. Now, you guys know I don't recommend pushing players inside houses, but if you can give yourself some sort of advantage, then it's fine. So basically, if you can put some damage onto your opponent or just boogie him, then go for it. Now, there was another player inside the basement that ended up stealing my kill. I was a little sad about it, as you guys can see, but thankfully I did get him back. So I head over to the middle of the town to spot for any more opponents. I like doing this at every town. I'll go for the middle of the town and try to get onto some sort of high point to see if I can find any players in the distance. You want to make sure you've cleared out the town before heading out, as a lot of the times you won't find any players for a while, and then you notice it ends up being a top 20 situation and you still have 2 kills. So try having some fun by finding as many opponents as you can. Now I got onto the roof and I accidentally shot my hunting rifle, as my mouse sometimes likes to act up. So I do need to get a new mouse pretty soon. I also did spot something inside the house up ahead, so I go for the push by building up for that high ground. Never go through the front door, as you're basically asking for death. Get that early advantage, that way your opponent has to make the next move. So I put on some damage onto this opponent. What I do next is go for that pressure play. Now he has to try getting away or pressure me back. Unfortunately for him, I placed a trap on the ground, as I was feeling a little funky with this kill. He was too late to get away, as these traps go off basically in an instant. If you don't have a weapon, then aim your trap onto the floor so you can time it with your opponent's movement. This type of trap play is more of an aggressive play. The reason for this is because you can pay attention to your opponent's movements as you place it down. Had you tried placing it on the ceiling, it would have been harder to time it, as you can't clearly see your opponent. Now, the one where you place on the ceiling is a defensive trap plate and is placed whenever there are no opponents close by, as you don't want your opponents to notice it. So I ended up clearing most of the town and wasn't able to spot any opponents. Now I got into the highest point of my structure to see if I can spot any players farther in the distance. If you cannot find any players in the town, then the next step is to get a little higher and see if you can spot any players farther in the distance. Although, as I spotted, there are 2 players fighting just behind the house, so I tried going for the hunting rifle kill before shooting my AR, as I want to try getting off that critical damage first. Wasn't able to hit the shot and proceeded to push this player. It was a pretty awkward fight as this tree was in the way. If you have the time, then shoot the tree down. Although I never ended up shooting the tree down as I never wanted to allow my opponent to shoot me. So I tried seeing if I can use the tree to my advantage, to maybe squeeze in some cheeky shots. It wasn't possible, but I did end up getting a nice critical pump off, and that's exactly when I decided to stay close to keep the pressure onto my opponent. Thankfully, I got the elimination from this very weird fight, as the worst types of fights are around trees, especially around Wailing Woods, as you can only build 2 stories before you start getting stuck. The camera angles get very awkward and it's just not a fair place to fight around, so make sure you guys shoot the trees down if they get in your way, or see if you can build around them. The only time I shoot a tree down that is blocking my building is if my opponent doesn't seem like a big threat, as you won't have to worry about getting sneaked up on. So I find myself a half shield and box myself in when taking it, as you guys already know, safety first. Now make sure you guys double check the weapons laying around, as there might be some upgrades. Take your time if the circle isn't a threat. You don't want to lose out on upgraded weapons because you overlooked at the loot. I actually almost ran away from the green tactical shotgun and noticed it had a grate. So compare your weapons to the weapons on the ground. That extra upgrade might be the difference maker in a fight. Now, it was time to head to the safe zone. If the safe zone's far, then don't get caught out looting for too long, as you might have just wasted all your time looting. Sometimes people will hear that chest as they walk by and go ahead and loot it. Then they hear another one and they loot it again. Those 2 chests could have been the difference maker not taking any damage from the storm. Especially if you're only carrying minis, then having that 100 HP is super important. The same thing goes for players looting eliminated opponents. You get caught out with so much loot on the ground and you aren't sure what to pick up. Next thing you know, you're getting chunked for 2 HP every second and end up with half the HP you had. Don't get caught out with loads of loot on the ground. If you see a sniper during endgame and you don't have the meds to recover from the damage, then don't risk it. Adjust your playstyle to the weapons you have. If you only have close range weapons, then you know you're going to need to play more aggressive around players, and minimize the amount you peek without cover. So, if you only have shotguns and ARs, then don't be sticking your head out for too long to focus on one opponent, as you'll most likely get sniped. The times that I don't have a sniper, I'll usually either push my opponents or just try building in the middle of the safe zone every single time the zone gets smaller. That way, by the end of the game, your opponent's in a good AR shotgun range to put on some pressure. Now, you guys can see I'm always jumping as I look around. You want to be looking everywhere, that way you can catch someone trying to line you up before they shoot. Make sure you guys are looking directly behind you too. Someone might be running right up on you waiting for that perfect shot, so really pay attention to your surroundings. A lot of players think of it as a chore to look in every direction. Sometimes it is just easier to hold W and just run around, but a lot of the times you might actually be dying from just not analyzing your surroundings. It's nice to start fights with full HP, so get in the habit of staying on your feet at all times. Now, I move up onto this hill and place a trap down like I always say. That way you don't get shot in the back, just in case a player tries sneaking up on you. There was a player on this hill with a rocket, and remember what I always say, he's got that rocket out, stay calm and place a wall in his face. He shot the rocket right into my wall and it was an easy elimination from there. Don't overreact fighting opponents that have rockets, as they are pretty easy to deal with as long as you can stay calm and build the right materials. If you start spamming random objects in your opponent's face, then don't expect to win the fight, as he will most likely squeeze a rocket somewhere inside one of your faulty builds. You'll get better at staying calm in stressful situations the more you play. Just make sure you're figuring out what you're doing wrong, that way you can fix it for next time. Now, there was another opponent super close by, and I basically almost lost the game because I was so confident in this fight. I missed my hunting rifle shot and slid down the hill to only get sprayed at by a minigun. Now, I've never gotten too close to a minigun without building, but wow, it'll absolutely drain your health. So the key thing I did wrong was stop building as he sprayed the minigun. I also ended up missing a crucial pump shot and switched right over to the tactical for the finisher. Had I hit the pump shot, the fight would have probably been over within 2 tactical shots. So yeah guys, I make mistakes too, and this was a prime example of why building after shooting is so important. I could have also stayed on top of the hill and built myself cover, as I was already holding the high ground. Would have been less of a problem to eliminate this player. Thankfully, I did get the kill and I was able to continue on with this game. So I built myself cover as I took the chug jug. The storm was coming in, so I decided to take my jump pad just to make sure I don't get caught inside the storm. If you have more than one jump pad, then you might as well use one if you're unsure about the storm. Don't save both of them, because a lot of the times players save up to 3 jump pads by the end of the game, and they either die while they could have prevented falling to death by just using one, or they win the game and could have made it much easier on themselves by actually using the jump pads. So I see two players fighting up ahead, and I go for the pinch on both of them. They were both pretty high, and I wanted to try knocking them off their materials, which was a success on one of them. I instantly went for the push-up to try finding that second player so I don't allow him to heal, because as you guys know, they were probably both pretty low in HP, as they initially did start the fight. Now, I wasn't able to find this second player, and I didn't want to go searching for him for too long, as I don't want him to sneak up on me. Because in this situation, I'm in risk of giving up the high ground. If I stay down at the bottom for too long, then I risk him getting his heal off and building right back up to the top. Now, I'm at the bottom and he's at the top. So I decided my best bet would be to stay at the top and just spot for him or any other opponents. So as I'm climbing up to the top, I make sure to check each one of my weapons. Get in the habit of switching between your weapons just in case you need to reload one and you don't even know it. I've had situations where I shoot my sniper and forget to reload it for my next fight, because my last fight was so tense. I'll either miss out on a sniping opportunity or get shot in the head by another sniper because he was quicker than me. Well, actually, because my sniper wasn't reloaded as I peeked out. So check your weapons so you don't get caught in the open trying to take a blank shot. Now, I was still looking for this player and I thought he wasn't coming back, as it was a little bit since I last saw him. He actually ended up building towards me as I spotted it. Now, I do have the high ground, so what I can do is shoot at him as he's building up, just so I can put on some damage before the fight really starts. I did end up getting shot by another player far out, so I built cover just in case. Now, this opponent did get above me, and what I did was build right back up for that high ground, and actually jumped off my platform, which resulted in shooting him in the back. I don't usually do these types of things, but I did it anyways, as for some reason I felt like I'd get a more clear shot. I did catch him out with his back turned, and he thought I was still above, so he tried building floors above him, which wasn't the case. Got the elimination because I guess I tried something that you're not really supposed to do, just caught him off guard. So I ended up shooting an opponent inside a porta fort in Tomato Town. I'm pretty sure that was the original player that shot at me during the fight. Now, as I'm shooting, I'm jumping up and down so I'm always mobile. That way I'm not able to get shot at easily. I'm also shooting at him back, that way he plays more cautious, as I'm letting him know I'm an aggressive player. A lot of the times, if you can land some shots on an opponent shooting you from a distance, then he won't shoot back as he's basically surprised you hit him. So he'll go into defense mode and play a little more safe as he knows you can shoot. So I make my way down to see if I can spot for any more opponents. I do spot a player close by a hill and proceed to take shots at him. Wasn't able to land any shots, so I try to get closer just to see if I can increase my chances. Now, he's also got a sniper, so I have to make sure I'm always behind cover. I use my stairs to push up on him and make sure I'm not peeking out for too long. Now, as I get closer, he starts shooting his grenade launcher. Had no clue he had one, so what I had to do is keep pushing closer and closer. You always want to stay on the move when an opponent is shooting grenades. That way they all don't explode in the same spot. Had I stayed in the same spot, all the grenades he shot at me would have exploded around the same area, probably killing me. So the counter to a grenade launcher is to push closer to your opponent. That way it makes his grenade launcher useless. I tried building up to him and got my material shot out from his grenades. Just made sure to build right after the fall. So my next step was to double ramp it up the hill, as he was right above me. Now, I never expected to get the high ground off the bat, as he was already up top. Just made sure to follow the key procedures. Built around his stairs, and as I did that, I built a wall in his general direction so I don't get shot in the back. Now, I got above him, and this is where you analyze the situation. I don't have to build any higher, as I'm still above him. All I gotta do is find him and put some shots into him, as he might not see me. I did squeeze through his materials, and I was able to catch him with his building materials out for a split second. Now, he did almost get above me, as I didn't spot him getting in behind. Although, if he did get above me, it's no big deal, as you just follow the same procedures and get right back up to the top. So, I spotted a few opponents fighting in the distance. I tried destroying their building materials once again, as they were pretty high up. Whenever you see players having a build-off battle, the key thing you want to do is try shooting down some of their materials. That way you can maybe drop one of them to their death. Or just try shooting directly at them. That way you can deal some easy damage onto them, as they are more focused on fighting each other. Got some damage dealt onto one of them and went for that jump pad push. As I jump padded, one of them did get eliminated, so all I now had to worry about was the one player. I knew his HP was low, so as he was building his walls, he never noticed me flying in. I got right inside his box, and one pump shot was all I needed. Now, I love my bolties, so I traded it in instead of the hunting rifle. As I did that, I noticed a player running in the distance. I went for the snipe and got the elimination. Now, I built pretty high as I was around a big mess of materials, so it was going to be pretty hard for my opponents to shoot my fort down. I now have some serious height advantage over my opponents. This is risky, as it can all be connected to one floor, although I had a feeling it wasn't. So if an opponent did try shooting my materials down, I'd see if I can snipe him first. If I would have missed the shot, I'd get right to the bottom as soon as possible, just so I avoid falling to my death. Now, I'm using my sniper to peek in and out of each fort very quickly. That way I'm not exposed for long periods of time and I'm gathering information as I do it. It's one of my favorite ways of maybe finding someone hiding inside a fort. I don't have to confirm it right away. If I think I see someone, I'll scope in and out very quickly, but I'll do it multiple times on the same spot as I'm peeking in and out. The reason for this is to avoid any players trying to line you up. You're also moving around, so if anyone does try going for the snipe, it would be a much harder shot to hit. So I do end up spotting a player in the distance, and I try taking a snipe at him. I miss my shot and go for a few AR shots. I take another shot with the sniper and end up hitting the shot. So I've gotten this player's HP low, and he somewhat seemed pretty clueless, so I went for the jump pad onto him. Now, he was focused on building his fort so he can heal up. This gives me confirmation to jump pad inside his base, and he wasn't paying attention. As I did that, I blocked him in to avoid taking any sort of blind shotgun battles, as he still had his shield. So I was gonna try editing my stairs so I can shoot him from above, but I ended up getting shot by another opponent. So remember what I talked about in my pinching guide. You want to see if you can land a snipe or take some AR shots on that second opponent. That way he doesn't keep shooting at you. I was able to snipe him, which left this game in a 1v1. Now, I could tell my last opponent never knew how to build, as he tried building stairs up without even paying attention to where I was. So I was gonna try to trap kill him. Now, it did take some time as he kept running away. Finally, in the end, I ended up getting the trap kill to finish off this guy. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this gameplay guide, and a like and a sub would be greatly appreciated as it does help me out a lot. Anyways guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll see you on the next one.